So if you're on the market and if you're looking for a Samsung Galaxy tablet to buy, you may be comparing all of the Galaxy tablets from the Galaxy Tab S9 series. Should you buy the Tab S9 FE? Should you buy the S9 FE Plus? Or what about the Tab S9 Ultra or the S9 Plus or even the regular Galaxy Tab S9? Today I want to compare all of those devices with a full comparison. I've done reviews on all of those tablets, so now I want to bring it all together and give you my overall advice for those of you looking between all of these tablets. So with all that being said, let's get right into it and let's get into the comparison on the Galaxy Tab S9 series. So with so many options, how do we even parse through all this? Well, I think the first place to start is just going over the prices and also the screen sizes, because I really think the screen size is the biggest differentiator for you. If you want a smaller screen size, I wouldn't even look at the S9 Ultra. That's really going to limit your options to two devices, and that's the Galaxy Tab S9 FE and the Galaxy Tab S9. The Tab S9 FE retails at $450, and the Galaxy Tab S9 is $800. So you've got a high-end option, and you've got a mid-range option for that same size. Now, if you want to go up in size, you could go up to 12.4 inches. And the Galaxy Tab S9 FE Plus does retail at $600 compared to $1,000 for the Tab S9 Plus. Now the one thing, if you want the absolutely biggest and the baddest, I know the marketing's big, realistically, most people, I think this tablet will be too big for. But if you want a huge Android tablet and you absolutely want it to be your productivity powerhouse, you're going to use it to watch everything, you want the biggest canvas possible, well, you could get the 14.6 inch screen in the Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra, but that's going to run you like $1,200. Again, all of these prices are assuming they are not on sale. Check the links in the description for sales, because that's also a great way to support me too, by the way, is to use those links there. So the first thing I would look at though is your price range and also the screen size you want. If you could figure that out, you're probably going to limit yourself to one or two choices anyway between all of these devices. For example, if you're looking for a smaller tablet, but you're in a $500-ish price range, well, that's going to limit you to the Galaxy Tab S9 FE, and that's it. So if you're looking at the S9 FE, I get it's not the fanciest thing, or if you're looking at the S9 FE Plus, again, you're not at the $800 or $900. And some of you are going to see the S9 FE Plus, for example, you're going to see it at $600 and say, yeah, but if I just spend $200 more, I'll get an AMOLED screen. Because the Tab S9, the S9 Plus, and the S9 Ultra, they all have AMOLED screens. They all have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor. So they all have high-end chips, high-end screens, and they're going to have so much going for them. I get that. But if you look a little cheaper at the S9 FE and the S9 FE Plus, what you're going to find is that you're going to get fairly good performance anyway. It is an Exynos processor. It's an Exynos 1380, and I get that. Some of you just don't like Exynos at all. But when you look beyond the name, a Samsung Exynos processor, when you're scrolling through your stuff, you're going to get a 90 Hz refresh rate. You're not going to get AMOLED. So yes, those are the compromises. No AMOLED, no high-end Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor. You're going to get only 6 gigs of RAM in the regular S9 FE, and you're going to get 8 gigs in the S9 FE Plus. But yeah, those are some compromises that you're going to see. You're only going to get one speaker on each side instead of two. But a lot of these things that we think we'll notice, that we think we have to have, we just don't have to have. Like this tablet is going to fly through most things that I'm doing at least. I get it's not going to be great for high-end gaming. So if you are a gamer out there, then just eliminate. If you're a high-end gamer, if you're a medium gamer, you game on occasion, well, I would say the S9 FE and the S9 FE Plus will be more than good enough for you. But if you game on very intense games for long periods, then you should probably get at least the Tab S9. So that's another factor for you. So if you're one of those people who just really thinks about all these technical specifications and I have to have 120 Hertz, why does my S9 FE not have 120 Hertz? I want 120 Hertz in my $600 S9 FE Plus. If that's you, then just eliminate yourself from these mid-range devices. You are someone who clearly wants something a little more high-end. And I get that there's some people out there who don't need that. A lot of you don't. I'd say 70% of the people watching this video probably do not need what the S9 or the S9 Plus or S9 Ultra comes with. But some of you care about AMOLED screens because whenever you're looking at your videos, the blacks you're gonna see on those videos, they're gonna be a little bit more black. You're gonna be able to notice a little bit of a difference in quality as far as the colors. It's not something your average person even notices looking at the two screens, but a lot of people are gonna say, like if you're one of those people who notices a lot of differences in TV quality, you notice the smoothness difference between 90 and 120 hertz. You're someone who notices the great power from those high-end Snapdragons compared to some other phones. If that's you, then yeah, you're a high-end person and you should probably limit yourself once again to the Tab S9, S9 Plus, or S9 Ultra. And I would say the screen size, once again, is going to be the biggest differentiator because there's not a lot of differences. You'll see a little bit of RAM differences between those devices, but not much else. If you are someone who is okay with a little bit of compromises, if you're okay with it being a little slower, like I'm not experiencing slowness with the S9 FE. I don't experience slowness with the S9 FE Plus. So if I open up 4, 5, 6 apps, I go between them, I could flow between all of them. But one of the things that I do notice that maybe you won't, well, the S9 FE and the S9 FE Plus, they do not have a way to connect to a monitor with a USB-C hub. So if you have one of those adapters to connect HDMI to USB-C, I tried that, but this is a USB-C 2.0 device, and that is a big deal. They made so many upgrades over the S7 FE, but this was not one of them, unfortunately. So you might be pretty disappointed to see that, and that might be a little bit of a downfall for you if you're someone who has to have that. Again, if you're someone who notices that or some of those other high-end things, then look between the S9, S9 Plus, S9 Ultra. Now, if you look at the S9 FE and the S9 FE Plus, those are for the people who are okay with some compromises. If you're okay with a little bit of compromise in your screen, it's not that bad. It looks great. It looks just as good as the Google Pixel tablet. It looks just as good as something like the OnePlus Pad. And when you look at those devices, they have their own compromises. For $500, for example, you get the Google Pixel tablet. It only has a 60 hertz refresh rate, but it comes with a speaker. Well, the S9 FE, it's $450, so it's cheaper than the Pixel tablet. It comes with a pin. It has Samsung DeX, so there's a lot of reasons to get it. It's going to have a 90 hertz refresh rate, similar quality as far as the screen. So I really think the S9 FE, the S9 FE Plus, they fit in very well around that $450 to $600 price range. But some of you are going to want a little more performance for high-end gaming. Some of you are going to care about an AMOLED display. So I think it comes down to asking yourself those basic questions and using those questions to really narrow it down. Am I okay with a slightly worse screen and slightly worse performance? Those are going to be the two main differences, and they're still going to be 75 to 80% as good, but you're going to have to deal with some minor differences there. There's no Bluetooth in the S Pen, for example, so it does still work great. It works flawlessly, and you don't have to charge it, but that's a minor difference. Another thing, the fingerprint sensors. You have a in-screen fingerprint reader in the S9, S9 Plus, and S9 Ultra. You have a regular power button fingerprint sensor. So the fingerprint sensor is located in the power button on the S9 FE and the S9 FE Plus. That might be a great thing for you. You might love it, or you might prefer an in-screen reader. Very different depending on the person. All of these devices have SD card slots. You are going to see a little bit extra storage in the base model on the Tab S9 Plus and the S9 Ultra. Yes, you will get 2 cameras on the S9 FE Plus, and you will get 2 cameras on the S9 Plus or the S9 Ultra. So yeah, there's some minor differences with cameras. You're going to see some things like that. But all of these devices get 45 watt charging across the board. All of them have water resistance. All of them, in my opinion, will have fairly similar battery life because even the smaller devices that have smaller batteries, they do have less screen size, so they're going to drain less battery because of that. So I think battery life will be fairly similar and fairly good across all of these devices. So in the end, it's going to come down to the screen size and, of course, if you're okay with these super minor compromises. Just pick the screen size you want, pick the budget you're in, and pick the compromises you're okay with, And when you look at those things, you're going to narrow it down very, very quickly between all of these devices. Okay, so this is a little bit of a late addition to this video, but I was going through the editing process, and I did notice that I talked a lot so far in this video about the Galaxy Tab S9 FE and the S9 FE Plus. And those devices are great, don't get me wrong, but I did realize if you are going to a Galaxy Tab comparison, a lot of you out there are just looking between the Tab S9, S9 Plus, and S9 Ultra. And there's a lot of you out there that don't even care about the S9 FE because you might be wanting a more premium Galaxy Tab experience. And if that is you, then I get that you might want a little bit of extra details between all of the little nuances and all of the differences between the Tab S9, S9 Plus, and S9 Ultra. So I'm going to add a little bit of extra footage here, and I'm going to be dressed a little bit different. But hopefully, this footage does help you out, and hopefully it does help inform you in your buying decision. So what are going to be the differences between these? Well, the one big difference between all of these is the rear cameras. So you get one rear camera on the Tab S9, you get two rear cameras on the Tab S9 Plus and on the Tab S9 Ultra. And on the Tab S9 Ultra specifically, you do get two front-facing cameras compared to one on the previous two models. So those cameras, it's really one of the biggest differences between these, and honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now you will also see that there's a notch on the Tab S9 Ultra, and you're going to have a little bit of larger bezels on the Tab S9 and the Tab S9 Plus. Again, does your average person care about bezels? Most people will not, and some people might not even like that notch anyway. But the other difference you are going to notice is going to be in the screen size, of course. Now, outside of that, one of the only differences you're going to see is that the S9 Ultra gets a little bit brighter on the display. It does get about 900 nits of brightness, and you're going to get a little bit lower than that on the Tab S9 and the Tab S9 Plus, like around 600 nits for those devices. And you will see a RAM difference. So the Tab S9 starts out with 8 gigs of RAM in the base model and 128 gigs of storage. If you want more RAM, you could pay $100 more and you get more storage as well. But if you want more RAM in the Tab S9 Plus, it already comes with 12 gigs of RAM in the base model, and it already comes with 256 gigs of storage. But compared to the base model of the Tab S9, you're going to pay $200 more. And compared to the base model of the Tab S9 Ultra, by the way, that model is $200 more than the Tab S9 Plus. So if we step back from all of these differences, right, and really try to examine it closely, is the Tab S9 Ultra really worth the money? And I think the biggest differentiator between all these devices, it's not going to be the upgrades or the extra features. You don't really get much of anything, right? Because you get the same speed in these devices. You get the same looking display. Yes, you get a little bit more brightness in the Tab S9 Ultra. Outside of that, the only real difference is going to be the extra camera you get on the front-facing camera. Or if you get the regular Tab S9, you'll be missing one of those rear cameras. But realistically, those are super minor differences. Like most people just want a very fast device. They want a fast device that also looks good with a great display. They want 120 Hertz. They want it to feel smooth. And they just want a good experience. And you're going to get that across all of these. So there's really not a lot of differences between the Tab S9, the S9 Plus, and the S9 Ultra. They have a lot of similarities, and honestly, if you're looking between them, I would just buy the device with the screen size that you prefer, and buy a device that's of course within your budget. Now beyond that, you might be wondering, with the Tab S9, the S9 Plus, and the S9 Ultra, they're all pretty expensive, and the S9 FE might even be a little too expensive for you. And if you are looking on a budget, you might need to look a little bit further. Maybe at something like the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, for example. It is a little bit slower. You're gonna have to deal with a little bit more lag there. It is a 60 Hertz refresh rate, but it is gonna be a little better than something like the Tab A8. And I do think that it's still a decent option, especially since it's on sale. So that's a good option for those of you lower end users for tablets. If you don't care about much, you just want something very basic. But for those of you looking in the mid-range to high end, I think all of these tablets are great. I think you just got to find the right price and ask yourself the right questions. So hopefully this video did help you out in this comparison. Please give me a like on this video and give me a sub. That means a lot. But the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that'll help me out is using those links in the description. That is a great way to support me as a smaller creator because I buy pretty much everything that I use on my channel with my own money and I give you my honest opinions. And that's just a great way to support me. So thank you so much. I really appreciate everything. And one thing you can do as well is check out some other videos if you get a little bit of time.